why are they lying when it comes down to flat Earth?
Yeah, good question. So why are they? Vincent? Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Flat Earth Friday. I'm the Creaky Blinder. If it's your first time here, consider subscribing and turning on bell notifications. And now let's have a look what Vincent has got to say about the flat Earth.
And this is a big question that I often get asked when it comes down to the flat Earth. And, you know, a lot of people want to know, well, if the Earth is really flat, then that means that there has been a conspiracy to keep us in the dark, and that we are being played by all of the agencies around the world, space agencies in particular, and then all of your major governments all around the world are conspiring to keep us in the dark about this truth.
Just listen to what you just said and then comprehend how ridiculous it sounds. By my best calculation, because I got bored counting my way through the list, there are over 200 governments throughout the world. In the UK, public sector workers account for 5.4 million people. So let's take that down to 2 million to err on the side of caution. No, in fact, let's not. The UK is a small country, so let's assume that each country employs about the same number of public sector workers, people who work either directly or indirectly for the government. That's over 1 billion people keeping the shape of the Earth a secret. Does it sound quite as believable now?
Well, I want to answer that question, why they are lying.
Ho, 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 ho. This is gonna be good.
They don't want you to know that there is a God. And so I know that a lot of people are going to drop out. Your heads are exploding right now. And you're saying that just doesn't sound rational, and that I'm being biased towards religion.
Well, that's not what I was going to say, actually. What I was going to say is that's as equally ridiculous as believing that the 1 billion people that are employed by the world's government, instead of you thinking they're keeping the shape of the Earth a secret, you think they're trying to keep the fact that there's a God a secret. Am I following you? I'm a bit lost.
So when there's no God, then you can do whatever you want to, and you don't have anyone to be accountable to. And so this is one of the biggest reasons why they created this system in which God does not exist. And along with that system goes the belief that the universe came out of a big bang and then it just exploded. And you know, we're in an ever-expanding universe that's billions of years old.
We are in an ever-expanding universe that's billions of years old. Let me guess, let me do an assessment of you, Vincent. You are a religious nutcase, the kind of person that thinks homosexuality is a sin, and that if God doesn't approve, you're going to go to hell. And this is all the basis for your belief that the Earth is flat. Because as you just said, the conspiracy isn't just to hide the shape of the Earth, it's to hide the fact that there's a God.
So this is what we call a worldview in which is a nihilist worldview, where people are nihilists. They don't subscribe to a God, and that there is no God in this particular worldview.
Nihilism's got nothing to do with it, you clown. So if you don't subscribe to any particular religion, you don't believe in God, that means you've got no moral compass in the eyes of your beliefs. That's just a really stupid thing to say, because a man's morals come from inside him. Religion's got nothing to do with it, you absolute idiot.
Now, on the other hand, the other way that we could view the world is through the eyes of a God.
And this is why religion and the flat earth go hand in hand, because they're both equally as ridiculous. Now the thing is, you can convince somebody that there's a God or that God exists. Religions have been doing that for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years. But convincing somebody of something isn't the same as proving it to them, in the same way as some of these nutjob flat earthers have managed to convince thousands of people that the earth is flat, when it clearly isn't. Convincing somebody of something isn't the same as proving it to them, which is why the burden of proof is on the flat earth in the first place. Because it's been proven and demonstrated for hundreds of years that the earth is a sphere, but these religious nutjobs like old Vinny boy here insist that it's flat, and it all ties in together with their insistence that God exists, when it's another thing which is completely impossible to actually prove.
That our world does have order, that people are rational, that what we do does have consequences.
Absolutely. The things we do have consequences, which is why it's so important that people like you stop spouting this bullshit about the earth being flat, because it isn't. But like I say, it all ties into your religious beliefs, because that's where it's all founded from. There is no scientific evidence. You can't even demonstrate that the earth is flat. Any pictures, anyone? No, I didn't think so. Why am I getting so worked up about this guy? I don't know. Carry on.
That there is a purpose to life. And so when we look at the world like that, then we see ourselves as stewards over the time that we have and over what God has blessed us with.
So if you don't believe in God or subscribe to a particular religion, your life has no purpose or meaning. I've said this in videos before. Do these people ever actually listen to what they're saying?
And so if we begin to see it like that, we become more responsible to our brothers and our sisters on this earth to show them the love and also the compassion that they deserve, and to also share with them, and then also serve them.
None of these things have got anything to do with religion, love, compassion, servitude. They're all, oh my God, they all come from what sort of person you are. Religion has got nothing to do with it. And I love a lot of people, including my Patreons, so here they are.
So this here is a different kind of mindset, and it totally goes against, the other view where people believe that the earth is round and that we just came from the Big Bang and it's the survival of the fittest.
Vincent, we do not believe the earth is round. We know it's round. We can prove it's round. We have pictures. We have evidence. We have measurements. We have predictability. So we don't believe the earth is round. We know it's round.
Well, in our worldview, where the earth is flat and that there is a dome covering the earth, it is more of a biblical perspective, because we believe that God placed us here on this earth, which is a flat plane, to till the garden and keep it according to the scriptures, that there was one man and a woman put in a garden called Adam and Eve, and that these people were made in the image of God, and that God gave them the assignment of tilling the garden and keeping it. And then also later on, through the expansion of humanity, gave them the assignment of taking care of the needs of their brothers and sisters.
Oh, bloody hell, where am I? What's going on? Why am I holding an apple? I don't even like apples. Hang on a second, who's she?
Adam, it's me, God. I know it's a shocker, I'm Welsh. Listen, I need you to do me a favour. Do you like her?
Well, not really, no.
Well, Adam, I'm gonna need you to slip her one.
What? What do you mean slipper? I don't even know what that means. I've only just got there.
You're gonna have to slip her one, otherwise there'll be no humanity. It's all down to you, but
Oh my god, I can't stand the pressure. She's not even my type.
just get on with it and slip her one. Now, because God said so.
And religious people think the Big Bang is unbelievable, because obviously two people just magically appearing and having sex with each other and creating all of humanity is much easier to believe.
And there are consequences for our behavior, because we eventually will be gathered up out of this world that the Lord has placed us in, and we will be brought into a place of judgment.
Hang on a second, so when you die you get taken to church? Ah, you mean a different place of judgment. Sorry, my mistake.
And so the reason they lie is because it helps them to support their selfish viewpoints of humanity and the world around them, so that they will be able to have a clear conscience from having to be judged one day and to meet God.
Meeting God, believing in God are not requirements for having a clear conscience. What gives you a clear conscience is living as an honest, straightforward person. Religion, once again, doesn't come into it. It's completely irrelevant. Why am I shaking my head so much? This guy's really winding me up.
Also, it helps them to support the worldview that Satan wants us to have, where Satan has created this worldview.
Wait, so now it's the devil's fault that...
But on the other hand, with the flat earth, we believe that God placed us here on the flat plane and that we are special and unique.
Special and unique. Well, you get no argument from me about that.
Now, NASA, again, wants you to believe, again, that we live in a expanding universe. But the truth is that we live in a dome, under a dome, on a flat plane.
No, no, no. We do not live on a flat plane, or a flat helicopter for that matter. We live on a spherically shaped planet known as Earth, and it isn't flat.
And that we cannot leave here. So why are they lying about that? Well, they don't want you to know that we can't leave here, because up above us there is a heaven.
I'm curious, and I've got to ask, so do they think that heaven is inside the dome? Or outside?
And below us there's a hell. And there are consequences for our sin. There are consequences for our behavior, to which we cannot shake. Now, the reason they don't want you to know that is because many of the people who have set up this world system actually serve Satan.
Yeah, of course they do, Reverend dipshit.
And Satan has nothing but one goal. Satan's entire goal is to take every person, man, woman, boy, and girl, to hell with him. And so what you really need to understand is that the reason, flat earth is very, very important is not because we're trying to get you to understand that the world is flat and to that end, but really to get you to understand that you were placed in a world that has purpose, and that this world that you live in and this time that you live in has consequences.
The reason the flat earth is important to people like you, Vincent, is because it makes money for you, pushing your beliefs onto the vulnerable and naive. And religion, your religion. From your description, what I'm taking away from it is that religion is basically lording power over somebody using threats and fear. If you aren't a good person, you'll go to hell. If you aren't a good person, God will hate you. If you aren't kind to people, the Lord will strike you down. That sounds really similar to a cult. I said cult. Get your mind out of the gutter. And on that note, I'll see you all next time. Take care, guys. Bye! Oh my god, I'm actually losing the will to live.
What do you reckon then, Eve? Should we give this a bash or what?